Hi folks, and welcome to In the Kitchen with Pete. Today's simple and delicious recipe is stuffed tomatoes. Here in Ontario, in July, the farmers, the backyard growers, the grocery stores, they have beautiful ripe tomatoes, so we're stuffing them. Lots of different ingredients. It's like 2 recipes in one because the stuffing in its own is fabulous. It has turkey and rice and fresh herbs. Let's get cooking.
Now, if you haven't seen this seasoning, it's a tomato bouillon with chicken flavor. I've found it in many stores in the US, however, not in Canada. You can purchase it on Amazon. Alternatively, you could use a tomato-based soup. You can find those in bulk food stores. It's excellent in soups and stews and commonly used in Mexican households. Now this recipe calls for 2 cups of cooked rice, but I'm going to season my water with this. It will give it some great flavor to the rice and wonderful color. And we'll also need another 3/4 of a cup of our tomato chicken bouillon, and you can just set that off to the side. In a large skillet, we'll add a pound of ground turkey, teaspoon of Italian seasoning, half a teaspoon of pepper, and then brown that up. Drain the fat. Alternatively, you could use ground chicken or ground beef as well. Then we can just set that off to the side. Using the same skillet, we're going to add a half an onion and 2 stalks of celery, all finely diced, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. My heat is set on a medium heat, and then I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of the tomato chicken bouillon. This will help soften up our vegetables. Then we'll add 2 large cloves of garlic that are finely diced. While stirring, we'll add 2 teaspoons of olive oil and a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes and some fresh basil leaves, 7 of them, all finely chopped up. And then we'll add a half a teaspoon of oregano. And now we're going to add our cooked turkey back into our skillet. Now add our 2 cups of rice, mix it all well, and we're going to add a half a cup of fresh chopped parsley. Once that's all stirred in, we're going to add the remaining of our tomato chicken bouillon. That'll keep everything nice and moist. Stir it thoroughly, and then we can cover it and remove it from the heat. Now this stuffing is not only fantastic in tomatoes, but how about sweet bell peppers? How about zucchini? How about just it on its own is an amazing dish, whether it's for a meal or a side. Well, let's get to the tomatoes. We're going to remove the tops of them, and then using a paring knife, we're going to cut around the edge, loosen it up. Our next step will be using a teaspoon to help us remove the insides of the tomato. Just run the spoon around the edges and simply twist out the core with your fingers. Now I need 3 or 4 ounces of the tomato juice, so we'll just push it down through a fine strainer and set it aside. Fill the tomatoes up with the stuffing right up to the top, and then we're going to add a little bit of grated cheese. I'm using a 3 cheese Italian mixture of grated cheese. It's got mozzarella, parmesan, and provolone. Now take that fresh squeezed tomato juice and drizzle it on and around our stuffed tomatoes. This will keep them moist and help prevent them from splitting in the oven. And our last step, we're going to sprinkle it with some Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. This will give it some nice color and give it a nice little crunch on top of our stuffed tomatoes. into your preheated oven at 400 degrees and set your timer for 20 minutes. Wow, take a look at these. What a beautiful color on top. Don't they look outstanding? Place it on a plate, garnish it with a little bit of parsley. Oh my, that looks delicious.
Well, how's that for another simple and delicious recipe? That stuffing in there, I could eat a whole bowl of it. It's so good. So if you're not a fan of tomatoes, just enjoy that stuffing. But I'm going to enjoy the whole thing right now. Here we go. Oh, nice and moist. Some stuffing. Bon appetit. Oh, wow. Packed with flavor. All those fresh herbs, that fresh tomato, and you can see how the cheese is kind of browned up on the top. You're gonna love it. Well, thanks for coming out and watching In the Kitchen with Pete. Until next time, see ya.
It ain't easy living life the way I do. It ain't easy, baby, living life the way I do. Well, if you don't love me, baby, please don't pretend you do.